Hey, everybody. So I'm here with Evan Neumann, who is a January 6th prisoner who is in Belarus right now, and he really needs a pardon to come back to this country and be reunited with his family. Welcome, Evan, to the Gateway Pundit.
Hi, Cara. Thank you. My name is Evan Neumann, and I'm stranded in Belarus right now. I have a political refugee status because of my involvement in the January 6th protests. So I escaped over the border from Ukraine.
Now that Trump is coming back in, you're obviously having hope that you're going to be able to come back to the United States.
Yeah, I really want to come back to the United States, and I plead with President Trump to allow me to come back into the United States to be with my children.
And the reason you haven't been back to the United States is obviously we could get into this is that you're on the FBI's most wanted list. From what I understand, you were charged with quote unquote violent charges, but there's way more to that story. Like I like to tell people, so many January Sixers accused of quote unquote violence that were the furthest thing from violent. A lot of them saving people, a lot of them protecting people from danger, and literally that being misconstrued as quote unquote violence. So when you hear violent charges, anybody listening to this, please take that with a grain of salt. So Evan, I really wanted the audience to get to know you and you to be able to tell your story.
Thank you. So I started out a long time ago as a Democrat. But I didn't like the way the Democrats ran the 2016 election with the superdelegates and all that. I went to the protest because after the election, I don't know if it was fraudulent or not, but it definitely looked fraudulent.
President Trump is taking office very soon, and a lot of people are asking for pardons, and you are one of them. Explain to
Yes.
me what you're asking for from President Trump.
So my understanding is what I need is a dismissal with prejudice. That means that my case is dismissed and the charges cannot be refiled. I'm then asking to be removed from the no-fly list and having my pilot's license reinstated, and then have all domestic and international warrants rescinded.
So, Evan, your story is absolutely incredible. Like, let's the meat of your story and how you actually got to Belarus.
Went to the San Francisco International Airport. The FBI met me at the boarding gate and interviewed me, and then I answered everything honestly. There were a few questions that I pled the Fifth Amendment on.
So you got to Ukraine, and what happened from there?
In the Ukraine, they unsealed my indictment, which is an unusual step. They made it public. The FBI then sent my case to the SBU, which is sort of like the FBI of Ukraine. So when I saw the SBU coming after me, and I found out about that because I got some people who called me and told me that the SBU was looking for me. Made a plan to go to Moldova, got back into my car, drove to the bank, shaved my face, changed my shirt, took my passport and money, and just walked to the edge of town and then took a taxi to the border of Belarus. Took a taxi to the border of the Pripyat-Stoked forest. But it's not a forest, it's actually a swamp.
How much time did you spend like kind of going through the swamp? How many
It was
hours?
about 20 hours.
You fell in like legit quicksand, like legit.
Yeah, yeah.
Were there any like weird animals and creatures like in the movies in the swamp?
Oh, I was covered in spider webs, 1,000 mosquito bites. There were snakes and wild boar.
From what I understand, the president himself automatically granted you political asylum very quickly.
Yeah, so after my last interview, there was it's kind of a fun story. There was this gruff-looking KGB guy who came into my cell very late at night, and he said, "I just got a text from our president, President Lukashenko, and he says 3 points. I have reviewed your file. I will not extradite you to America, and I will protect you."
So you got this presidential asylum from the president, a political
Mhm.
asylum.
So
So
it's
you're considered a political refugee.
yes.
So we have a political refugee here who is also a political prisoner and a politically persecuted person, a January 6er that needs to come home. What would your plea to President Trump be?
I just want my children. The biggest thing for me is that I want my children to have a father through their teenage years.
How could people help you in the meantime if they wanted to help you out?
Making this interview popular,
Thank you so much for sharing your
right?
story, and we're praying for you here in the United States.